Zero missiles. Zero jets. Just data. You're about to see how a $180,000 recon drone and a box of antennas turned a North Donetsk convoy into a dead end. The title says 200 DIY drones erased it. Here's the blueprint behind that outcome. We'll map the deception, the jamming, and the moment the digital grid closed. If you want the tactical logic, not hype, stay. You'll learn why information superiority, not bigger guns, decided this fight, and how $2,000 FPV drones outmaneuvered a prestige air defense platform blinded before the first blast. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. They thought the road was clean. Then one quiet thermal feed said the map already lied. A thin ribbon of heat in fog, then more, then a chain. You don't need explosions to know trouble. You need pattern. A single recon I rode the mist, high and slow, feeding locked telemetry through hardened links. Operators watched a living diagram grow, 58 shapes with different heartbeats, fuel warmth, brake glow, turret cycles. The feed didn't shout.
Pyongyang is sending up to 30,000 more troops to bolster Russian forces along the front lines. North Korea initially sent some 11,000 troops to Russian territory last year. Russia's getting yet more help from North Korea in its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. According to Ukrainian intelligence, officials say thousands of those North Korean fighters were either killed or wounded.
It drew. Meanwhile, Russian minesweeps called the corridor clear. Counter-battery nets slept. Air defenses stared wide for big signatures, jets, missiles, anything loud enough to justify a launch. What came was a drip of data that never tripped their rules. So decoys went first. Punisher-class birds, cheap and chatty by design, climbed into the cloud deck and made noise. They pulled optics off axis. They teased muzzle flashes. They woke radios. Every flare and burst sketched a sensor angle and a trigger time. Every search chirp marked a gate. Information became ammunition. Each ping plotted a vector. Each vector locked into a grid you could fire through without firing yet. The convoy's shape changed on screen. It wasn't a line. It was a network node with weak links. An EW node, a squat case, antennas bristling, compact HG-22 humming, bent the space around it. Radar clutter swelled. GPS nudged off by a hair. Timing loops slipped just enough to matter. Gun lane numbers drifted. Locks wobbled. The map kept sharpening. Fuelers got a soft tag. Zu-23 mounts, a harder tag. Missile trucks, top tier. Fragility and effect set the order. You cut reach, then sight, then teeth. The swarm stayed under nets. The grid stayed quiet. Operators waited for rhythm. Spacing opened. Escort orbits repeated. Comms density hit its crest. At that beat, the decoys died on cue, and the crews thought they'd won a probe. They hadn't. Their own reactions had traced a strike lattice across the highway. What looked like open road now read like a pre-aimed script. Next comes the choreography, where low-cost FPVs and masked signals turn that script into 4 minutes of collapse. 4 minutes. 200 FPVs. What would you do first? The net lifts. Cheap birds, about $2,000 each, kick in from 3 hides. Each carries 8 to 10 kilos. They spiral and staggered, never a straight lane, never a steady speed. No single axis to lock. The sky looks messy by design.
Ukraine is fighting not just Russia, but North Korea directly, and Ukraine's allies have not responded.
Now that troops are involved, we have to expect that Kim Jong-un is going to be asking for more from Russia in return than he would have received simply for providing artillery, ballistic missiles, and other weapons. So this takes and extends the war both into another country, but also takes and raises the stakes for the United States and its allies.
Gun trucks and a Panzer-class unit light up. Tracers rake high, then low. Radar locks wobble. The voice net clogs with crosstalk and hiss. Optics stare into smoke and glare tossed by the decoys a beat earlier. Sensors hunt ghosts, not threats. Attack lanes thread the seams. Paths ride spoofed GPS corridors and slip through radar nulls. Waypoints are pre-baked from the earlier telemetry, so no one lingers to think. On the ground, UGVs seeded TM-62s into shoulders and likely turnouts. Reverse is gone. The shoulders lie. Timing beats armor. First waves go for tankers. Cut fuel, cut motion. Second drop stack into command vans. Cut brains, cut orders. Third wave choose air defense mounts, the trucks with the teeth. Each hit steals reach in sight, not just steel. Spiral ingress forces over lead errors. Dive profiles fall off the rhythm of tracer arcs. Microdelays in each run offset gun-laying computers already jittered by EW drift. By the time a gun swings true, the drone is past, or it was never there. Cost becomes a weapon. Decoys burn cheap. Sensors misread. $1 million platforms fire blind and empty. It's David with a bag of stones, but every stone knows the route. Heat surges along the line. One tanker lights the next. Secondary blasts chain through cables and crates. Escorts pull wide to breathe and find dead ground sown with mines. Engines idle, then die. Radios crackle, then fade. Under 4 minutes, the column breaks into lone fires. The moving target turns into a silent grid of wrecks. Step back. What won wasn't wait. It was the order of moves, data, then deception, then denial, then the swarm that closed the book. Superiority now starts with sight, then shaping, then the last, clean strike. Data was deadlier than bullets because timing turned cheap platforms into scalpels. You saw the order: scout, spoof, strip, swarm. That sequence beat prestige gear, not by weight, but by control of the clock and the net. If you value tactics over hype, subscribe. Then tell me, decoys first or EW first in your playbook? Comment your choice below. I read every take. Next, we test the lattice against mobile SAMs with adaptive waveforms. Can a shifting sensor net bend a hunter that learns? The answer lives in the update cycle.